We're at beautiful Virginia International Raceway for round 5 of RaceKraft V8 Veterans. This is top split of 4 live on SimSpeed TV, 200 kilometers ahead of us. One of the most beautiful racetracks to be found anywhere in the world. Lots of unique little things to this place. We're looking forward to it. David Haynes with Brock Cadday and Daniel Yeaman, again live on SimSpeed TV. Hello everyone, hello Brock.
Good evening everyone, and we are here at the beautiful VIR, a classic track in the United States and a classic track on iRacing as well, a fan favourite for many that hit the service and across a wide range of cars. But tonight we'll see our big brutish V8s take on this great undulating circuit.
So an interesting juncture in the championship. 10 rounds. We begin round 5. Wayne Walker has been Mr. Consistency. He leads the championship. A couple of good races for Paul Young as well. Many podiums from him. Sees him sit in 2nd place. Dean Logsdale slides up into 3rd. Mark Poynton up into 4th. Luke Allman sits at 5th in the points. Greg Sharp and Brad Doble very close together there in 6th and 7th. Dean Flavel up in 8th. Shane Randall making big moves after last round up into 9th. And Jeff Thomas completes the top 10. Damon Fisher picks up some points. Brian Borgs also picked up some points along the way. He sits just outside of the top 10, but with a race win to his name. And Ken Latter, things did not go well for him last week, but hopefully he can bounce back. VIR's been a track that's been on iRacing for quite some time. It's had some refreshes and some updates. It's also become free base content, which is very good. It's a track that I've visited a number of times. It's in Virginia, but only just. You kind of need to drive through North Carolina sometimes to get here. The way it's in the bend in the river, and the state line is just over there somewhere. So a long front stretch into a hairpin turn 1, sequence of corners into left hook, and then the lower S's at 5 and 6, the fast climbing S's through 7, 8 and 9, then dropping down the hill at 10. The oak tree bend used to have a tall, proud oak tree at the apex until a storm took it away. Don't worry, they replanted one of the limbs just outside of the corner. Maybe one day the oak tree will be returned in glory. But your exit is absolutely crucial for the long straight, the backstretch Madison Avenue, and then roller coaster. The track descends down rapidly, giving it its name. There's a big compression at turn 17, hog pen, that leads you back onto the front straight. Things to keep an eye on. Don't cut the green and yellow checker on pit entry. That can be a penalty.
Great circuit we've got here, and as taking a look at this track map for the first time with the names of the corners here, I love some of the creativity in the names, and really enjoyed hearing that story about the oak tree as well. And that I reckon I like the idea that we'll have an oak tree sitting on the outside of the circuit again one day. But in for a good one here tonight, plenty of overtaking opportunities, and I think it's just going to be about setting yourself up well in certain sectors of this circuit to take advantage of a run to get these passes done. So these guys would have done heaps of laps around here, and I'm excited to see what they come up with.
So it is the VIR 200. That means 200 kilometers, 38 laps. Starting fuel is 50 litres, so that's quite on the low side, but with an uncapped refill capacity will give lots of flexibility to the strategy. And when they take their 2 compulsory pit stops, one thing though that does then reduce the window on when you can take those things, there's only 1 set of tyres available.
Really enjoying this season. The V8 Vets admins have been sort of trying a few different things with the strategies, with the fuel, with the tyres, to try and throw a bit more of a curveball in these nights that these guys go racing. So just to run through these tyre set restrictions. So this was added to the supplementary regulations for tonight's round. Drivers only have the one set of tyres available to change at pit stops, but they still have to complete the 2 compulsory pit stops. So they're going to have to make one set of tyres last a while in this race and still do their 2 fuel stops. Some notes on the tyre set restrictions. Once a tyre is changed at the pit stop, the tyre taken off the car can't be put back on during a later pit stop, so that tyre is gone. Imagine it's off in the abyss, you can't use it again. Drivers don't have to change all 4 tyres in a pit stop. Each tyre can be individually selected, so that means that they could do 2 tyres at one stop and 2 tyres at another to help make that last longer. The time to change 1 tyre, though, is the same to change 4 tyres. So it doesn't matter how many you're putting on, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's all the same amount of time in the pits in iRacing. So drivers have options in tyre strategy. The tyre overcut is very strong, and that's where we're going to see some passing opportunities, and that means that we're going to see a variety of different strategies unfold here tonight from a fuel point of view and from a tyre point of view, and that's all going to unfold from lap 2 when the compulsory pit stop window opens.
So we look at the possible fuel strategies, but they're shifted a little bit based on the tyre strategy. I'd be looking to bring one fuel-only stop early and then go for a tyre change somewhere at the half distance. If you stop when the compulsory pit stop window opens, load up the fuel. Then once you get to lap 7 and make a stop, you could get to the end from there. I guess the alternate strategy is you go new tyres lap 12, put a bunch of fuel in, and then take just a late splash. Try to run the car lighter, but get a little bit of a tyre undercut perhaps at stop 1 if you want to.
Yep, and that'll be the thing to watch tonight, and see who's going to put those tyres on, where that overcut, undercut sort of strategy will come in. And of course, watch, as we always do, watching the fuel numbers in the pits, the pit stop time, to identify who has got the best strategy out there, and we'll always make our predictions to see who's going to come out on top.
Let's take a look at who's joining us on the Zoom wall. Drivers get 1 bonus point for joining the broadcast on Zoom. And yeah, we've seen a few drivers decide that they need all they can get. And this is who's appearing at the moment. Luke Allman, Ray Smith, Ken Latter. Damien Cairns has got something fresh going on, not only with the heart rate, but a bit of plain stuff happening there. Simon Haynes is doing his warm-up. Dean Logsdale's ready to go. Wayne Sanderson's got the VR headset on. Jeff Thomas is, I don't know, doing his stretches or something there. Paul Young's making sure the ergonomics are all set up. Greg Sharp's been involved in an earthquake and fallen on his side. Travis Hunt's getting back in the rig and putting the headset on. Wayne Walker is ready to go. Justin McLean's giving us the pedal cam, and Christian Smart is all set up.
Yeah, and as we do every week, we will check in with these guys and try and see each and every one of them out there on the circuit from their Zoom cam and on board in the sim as well.
Last round at St. Pete, our driver of the day was Simon Haynes. So he comes into round 5 with that. He also comes in round 5 with what might look like a slightly updated paint scheme. Keep an eye on that one as well.
Yeah, great effort.
Is it an Anzac Day thing?
I think it is an Anzac Day thing, and I think that's what we saw on Damien Cairns' Zoom wall camera as well, as potentially a bit of an ode to Anzac Day and some people he's close to. And there you go, look at the bonnet. Nice big Anzac badge there. But look, back to Simon Haynes' performance last week was excellent. We kept an eye on him throughout the race, and he just kept it really clean with good battling throughout the race, but never made a mistake, and had an awesome run into the top 10. So well and truly earned this driver of the day. And let's see if we can back it up with a special livery this week.
Qualifying is over, and our fields are getting ready for 200 kilometers of RaceKraft V8 Vets action. Wayne Walker is on the pole position. Justin McLean joins him on the front row. That's a very nice qualifying margin for Wayne Walker, showing that he's got VIR figured out. 2/10 in his back pocket, it would seem. Row 2 is John Latham and Paul Young. Dean Logsdale has qualified 5th. Logan Barnett is in 6th.
Brian Borg in 7th and Troy Stonestreet in 8th. And rounding out the 10 here, Lorne McKee with another Anzac Day special livery, and Mark Poynton in 10th. Alex Kiddis out of 11th and Jeff Thomas out of 12th. We've got Stewie Hall out of 13th and David Nash out of 14th. Travis Hunt 15th and John Gallen out of 16th. Ray Smith 17th and Dan Hall out of 18th. And rounding out our top 20 here tonight is Wayne Sanderson in 19th and then Stephen Kennedy out of 20th. We've got Chad Lewis 21st and Luke Orman in 22nd. Great to see some of these liveries here honouring the Anzacs. It's really quite special. Dave Arney in 23rd and Christian Smart in 24th. Matt Brunt in 25th and Matthew Stoyles in 26th. Brad Doble 27th and Scott McKenzie in 28th. And rounding out the top 30 here tonight, Greg Sharp in 29th and Ricky Hyde in 30th.
There's just a couple of other drivers that have laid down qualifying times. Shane Randell, 31st. Maybe not what we would have expected of him, a driver in the top 10 in the points. There's Dean Flavel in 32nd. Similar to be said as well. An interesting row back there, 31st and 32nd. Damien Cairns in 33rd. There's Simon Haynes again. He's qualified 34th. Jamie McKnight in 35th. Darren Goosey in 36th. And the last driver with a qualifying time is Tim Mulford in 37th. Take a look at this. Ken Latter, no qualifying time. Reese DeGoey, no qualifying time. Damon Fisher, no qualifying time. Thinking it might be a pit lane start as well for Ken Latter. We're all lining up on the front row and the front straight for that standing start. One tyre set available, 200 kilometres ahead of them.
It's going to be an interesting one here tonight. It's 38 laps around here, 200 kilometres, you just said, David. So just to recap, starting fuel is 50 litres, so relatively low starting fuel in these cars. Refuel capacity though, 100%. Estimated total fuel to add is around 102 to 114 litres, so not quite a full tank over the course of the race. 2 compulsory pit stops, 1 set of tyres that you can change any tyre you want just once over those two pit stops, Compulsory pit stop window opens at the end of lap 2, with that critical lap number being lap 5 to 8. That's where you can top up the fuel to get to the end. But remembering those fuel strategy graphs we looked at earlier, that might not be the strategy considering the lack of tyres available to you. So it'd be really interesting to see how the guys approach it tonight and if some thought has gone into their strategy.
A beautiful morning to be racing. 18 degrees in the air, 20 on the track. Conditions that should be kind to those tyres, and our drivers are going to need to look after them. That's the key strategy component of this race, the VIR 200. There's Wayne Walker just underneath the starting gantry. Justin McLean on his outside there. A couple of drivers still to place on the grid, and Tim Mulford, well, he's well and truly on the starting grid as well. He's not back up the roller coaster or any nonsense like that. If you've played enough Roller Coaster Tycoon, you will have seen some people back up on a roller coaster, but that's why you got to employ those guys to sweep the paths.
I have not. I've always wanted to play some Roller Coaster Tycoon. Do you think they could do like a Supercars add-on where I could have our Supercars field here as a roller coaster in the game? I reckon that'd be fun.
OpenRCT2 has many, many mods, and it's great. So I reckon you should give that a go at some point. But we're about to give 200 kilometers of VIR a go. It's 38 laps, many challenging sections in a car like this. The S's, the oak tree with a long curved braking zone, the roller coaster, big braking zone at the end of Madison Avenue, and then the elevation change, the curbs, everything to provide a challenge to our drivers. Noticing no Brian Borg in the field. No, he's from 7th. He's from 7th, so that's another one to keep an eye on. The championship leader from 1st, Brian Borg, the only other race winner this season, from 7th. They rev up their V8s and they get ready to get underway. As the green flag waves, it's not a good getaway from Logsdale or Borg. It's a fair enough getaway from Walker. We've got Concertina, and Brian Borg gets spun into the infield, keeps it off the wall. Dan Hall will be okay. There's Ken Latta from his pit lane start. Stuart Hall with a black flag for jumping the start, and a few things that race control are going to have a look at. Ristagoe also perhaps in some troubles. Wayne Walker still leads us as they build tyre temperature.
Yeah, bit of a wild start there. Yet glad there was some runoff there, and Dan Hall managed to save the car. It doesn't even look like he's got a scratch on the thing, despite going off at a pretty high rate of knots there. But he kept it clean. We're looking at the front of the field now as they come through the back section of this circuit here. It's bumpy. It's undulating. You hit curbs, you're bouncing around. Look at how much the cars are moving through here. They've got cold tyres, they're cold minds, they're just getting settled into this one, but they've got to be full bore. Wayne Walker is absolutely leaving them in his dust at the moment, battling side by side further back in the pack. This is pretty racy stuff early on in this one. Travis Hunt making moves, or rather trying to keep his position where he is at the moment. He'll come down onto Madison Avenue now with John Gallen behind him, side by side behind, again coming down towards the roller coaster section.
Matt Brunt's got a bit of side by side going on as well here. Wayne Sanderson to his inside. It's tough to know which side of the track you want to be on. There's a little bit of a kink to the left going into the roller coaster before the main bulk of the corner is a right-hander and immediately descending in the final corner. Gives you more grip than you expect, because just on the exit there, the road comes back up to meet you, and it gives you plenty of grip. Latters off the road. There's some shenanigans going on deeper in the field as we've got one lap completed. Stuart Hall comes in to serve his penalty, which I believe will be a jump start. Maybe McKnight is way off the road too. He just rejoins in front of Ken Latta, who's at speed and has also been off at points.
Yeah, hearing a bit of chatter in the background between Ken Latta and Race Control about something that happened at the end of Madison Avenue. So clearly there's been some shenanigans going on in the back of the pack here. Multiple people having moments or getting together. It's so early in this 200-kilometer race, guys. We've only just started lap 2. We've got to try and make it to the end of this one. So we'll try and unpack a little bit of that for you later once we've got the replays. But now flashing forward a bit further in the field, where it looks like most, at least in this top 10, have managed to just sort themselves out and get into a bit of a rhythm. These two cars taking a little bit of liberty there with the off-tracks, but you've got them, use them. Logan Barnett we're on board with, coming onto Madison Avenue, showing you the speed these guys will get on what's a pretty long straight. Got a bit of draft benefit from Paul Young and John Latham up ahead of him at the moment. They'll peak at, it's going to be about 265? 275, excuse me, I've gotten that wrong. Here you go, 280 in the draft is what you'll get to. That's reaching some Bathurst levels there down the back straight, but keeping it clean, not doing anything silly. They're just trying to make it to the first pit stop of this one.
1.5 second lead for Wayne Walker, but as you can see, it's all very close between Latham in second, Young in third, Logan Barnett we're on board with in fourth. Justin McLean, not a good getaway from second on the grid. He's back there in fifth now. West Stone Street. Brian Borg still holding on to seventh. few big movers. Matt Bront's made up some spots. Tim Mulford's made up some spots. Dan Hall is in the lane. Ken Latta is in the lane. Compulsory pit stop window is open. So if you're thinking, get a splash of fuel in, clear that first CPS, and then open up to be able to take that set of tyres at a time more convenient of your choosing.
Yeah, exactly it. And this is a strategy we thought we'd see, is that everyone will be thinking a little bit differently about how they want to attack this. If you're stuck behind someone and you saw those fresh tyres from the start of the race, you might try and pit, get out of the train a bit and see if you can't put in some really good lap times to make this work. So we're seeing those stop times obviously aren't very long because they would have had most of their starting crew still on board. Damien Cairns, he is really topping off the tank at the moment, so he'll do 26.2, so he would have just about rimmed that thing. Won't be the full fuel he needs to take on for the race. He'll still have a splash and dash in the second pit stop, but he's doing his absolute best to make sure the next pit stop is a short one.
Over the crest of the hill that's got the water tower on it. And then a little dip if we rise back up into the braking zone. So this hill dropping down so quickly. Just placing tyres one curb, then the other. You don't want to go too wide out of Hog Pen though, because you'll fall down the hill on the slippery grass and the track will get further and further away from you. We're looking at Damien Cairns, his heart rate's up.
Yeah, it looked like he was involved in some things earlier on in this race, and he's since coming to the pits to get his first service and already getting our first look at a Zoom wall attendee. So he's all by his lonesome at the moment, but I have a funny feeling as these next few laps go on, it'll get a little bit busier for him on track, as we're actually seeing Jamie McKnight, Stephen Kennedy and Stewie Hall have all come in, so they will start to come out in and around Damien Cairns. And just to shout out to him with that tribute to the Anzacs there, it looks like I don't know this personally about Damien, but I'm just going to assume based off of this, he was with the Royal Australian Air Force from 1995 to 2007, and these are some of his memories and photos from that time. So thank you for his service, and great that he's showcasing that in honour of the Anzacs tonight.
So we have Stuart Hall, having served his drive-through penalty, has come in again to take his first pit stop. We've got some very quick drivers now, very deep in the field. Jamie McKnight, 35th, with Dan Hall behind him in 36th. Stephen Kennedy, 37th. We just saw Damien Cairns has taken that first stop, taken on a lot of fuel, and running along in 38th. 2-second lead for Wayne Walker, but then it's battle packs everywhere else, and that's what we love to see.
Yeah, these guys, they fight hard, tooth and nail, and they do not give up. It doesn't matter what position you're fighting for. Every point matters in this championship. We talk about it when we look at the points every week. It really does make a difference, even just a position or two, and these guys know it. Battle pack here for 25th. Greg Sharp, Ricky Hyde, Shane Rendell, Scott McKenzie and Dean Flavel all neck and neck at the moment. Ricky Hyde looking like they've got a bit of pace here to try and make something happen. We're on board with Earthquake struck Greg Sharp at the moment, whose view is a little bit askew here, but that's okay. We're still getting to see him go to work in VR. Looking at the back of his car and back at this battle pack that is trying to chase him down. Ricky Hyde locked up a little bit at turn one, trying to get something to happen. Now coming through into this middle section of the circuit here. Won't be much to do, but this is when you start to set up your run. Can you get a bit closer to the car in front and make something work at Oak Tree or onto Madison Avenue? That's the thought that's got to go through Ricky Hyde's mind here. Getting a little bit closer in that draft over the curves. We're going to drop right off here. Greg Sharp absolutely pummeling through this section and defending himself from an attack, at least in the next few corners.
Great climber, Greg Sharp, going up those S's. Ricky Hyde not quite the same confidence to leap over the curbs. Confident to leap over the curb there at Oak Tree. You're trying to set up your exit as perfect as you can. Just behind Ricky, Shane Randell, one of the drivers we expected to pick up a couple of spots. He's picked up 4. Notice he's picked up 6. But we're in a mixed strategy window of a few drivers that dropped out of the traffic, stopped very early just for fuel only. And Paul Young's going to be one of them, so he's coming in from inside of the top 5. Paul Young hitting, coming towards the start of lap 6.
Don't know if I would have expected that from Paul Young, unless he felt he was being a bit held up. I think he was in behind John Latham. Speaking of being held up, Ricky Hyde is in, and some others behind. Luke Allman's in as well, Ray Smith. Oh, Ricky Hyde's been black flagged. Oh, speeding on pit entry. Oh, Ricky, the strategy seems so good, but now, that's going to be, that's a penalty there, so we'll watch this
Look for the green and
here.
gold. So look for the, you can't cross the line or the paint on pit entry. You also can't do faster than 72 kilometers an hour. So as Hyde's coming in, oh, Gino, I think he's fine there. I think it's the speed that's done him, surely. Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunate one there. It's so early in the race to have that happen. That's going to make the rest of the night a hard slog. But good call on the green and gold there, David. You did mention that earlier, to keep an eye on that, because you come flying out of Hogpen. It's so I can imagine it's so easy to overshoot that pit entry.
Also, when you load into the server, it says 72 kilometers an hour, but then once you're in the server, it's 60 kilometers an hour. So it's published incorrectly.
That's not horribly helpful for poor Ricky Hyde, who might have been thinking going for 72k an hour, but ended up needing to go about the average speed limit here in Australia at 60k an hour, at least in our suburban and city areas.
That's a fair bit wide there. But now Justin McLean comes into the lane, because Barnett might have picked a little wide out of Hog Pen. McLean coming in, take a little bit of fuel. Paul Young took plenty, so there's a couple of options now at this stop. Still too early to be taking this set of tyres, but you can either, just take 12 or 15 seconds of fuel, or you can really load up, and if you have loaded up a little bit more,
yeah, interesting to see. I'm curious to see what some of these people in these battle packs do, because in my mind, if you're in these battle packs at the moment, like, this is an absolute, rip snorter of a battle pack here, from 11th back multiple positions, and here we go, on board with Jeff Thomas on the zoom wall and in sim. If you're jumping out of these battle packs, you want to fuel less, maybe get your tyres on and try and get an undercut going, but we're seeing kind of the opposite at the moment. Some of the people peeling in are putting on a lot of fuel to try and potentially get that gain in the second part of this race when they have their second stop. So definitely some strategic mind games at play here, but looking at Jeff Thomas trying to hold off a fairly angry gaggle of cars behind him at the moment. Chad Lewis, John Gallen, Travis Hunt and Wayne Sanderson part of this 5-car battle pack, but Jeff holding his own. He's up one position, and I reckon if I was him, I'd be trying to eye down maybe a top 10 tonight if he's got the pace in him.
great view backwards just there. A few other drivers might look to react with their first pit stop, especially seeing some of our really quick drivers taking theirs. Justin McLean's come out ahead of Paul Young as that's transpired. This group are going to go past pit entry without bothering, but that looks like Matt Brunt in the background might be going for it. Logan Barnett and Mark Pointed in front of us have come in, so now a whole bunch of the field have taken their first pit stop. And you know what? You've got to be careful in this 2 compulsory pit stop racing when some drivers have taken their first stop and you haven't yet.
Well, this is when we're going to see that tyre offset, right? We're going to see people who, if they've taken tyres, are going to be far faster than the guys who haven't. So we're going to see closing distances are going to be tight. People are going to be trying to go for probably pretty ambitious moves around here to try and make a move happen and continue their strategy and their race in a positive manner. So that, as we get into the next sort of 10 laps and we see that some of these guys start to come through the pack with new tyres, we'll absolutely start to see that unfold. On board with Travis Hunt here, zoom wall and in the sim as he has, I always laugh at the cam borders cut out in the corner. You can't quite see the head, but we have seen it before. Travis looking to go for a move, not quite going to happen on John Gallen. Gallen going slightly defensive into Oak Tree. Travis potentially with a little bit of Morse code on the rear end there, certainly close enough to get a bit of draft here, maybe make a move into Roller Coaster. He's just cracking the neck there and trying to make it happen. Let's see what he can do in the draft.
Certainly seems pretty powerful once you're going past 250 k's an hour, so there's a little bit to help you. Travis Hunt's feeling gutsy, and he might just get that spot. Moves ahead of John Gallen. Leaders coming into the pit lane, so Wayne Walker will pit. We know that the starting 50 leaders could take them a little deeper than this lap 8, but a lot of drivers are coming in. You'll see a few more now. Troy Stonestreet stays out into the lead of the race. Dean Logsdale out. Alex Kiddis stays out and into third. John Latham, Brian Borg, Chad Lewis and Wayne Sanderson come into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious that more people didn't come in. Normally when I get that call out that the leaders come into pit, that's a good sign to me, particularly when you've got someone like Wayne Walker who has just been absolutely blitzing this league lately. You come in and go, all right, it's my time to shine, I'm coming into the pits. So in any case, multiple different strategies. Wayne Walker out of the pits, 20.6 second pit stop. The two behind him that came in, Borg and Latham, both had slightly longer pit stops, but that just means that they'll have a bit of a fuel advantage should a safety car or something occur a bit later on. It might benefit them for that second pit stop.
Pretty clear air for Wayne Walker. The next car ahead of him, Brad Doble, has served a drive-through, but hasn't taken any fuel yet. And then ahead of that, acres and acres of wide open space. Our field's in sort of two halves, an Oak Tree half and a Turn 1 half by the looks of things. And that's really those that haven't pitted and those that have. Expecting a few more to pit at the end of this lap though. Troy Stonestreet leads the field through the roller coaster. 50 litres just isn't much for these cars.
No, they guzzle the fuel away, and I think it was a 4 to 4.5 litre a lap usage. So really at lap 10, you're looking at only a handful of laps here to go until you've got to come in anyway, because that fuel will be running out. Looking at Christian Smart here at the moment, who is someone we like to keep an eye on because he does work his way through the pack into the pits now, wiggling his way on the pit entry, and he is in and will get his service now. So we'll see where he rocks up. It was plus 14, but that was due to some pit stops. Scott McKenzie in as well, and just ahead of them, Alex Kiddis and Dean Logsdale. So we're starting to see more of a cleansing of the field as these fuel tanks gradually get towards their being empty across the field.
Doble's got one of those early booms. A bunch of other drivers taking their fuel as well. Any surprisingly short stops? There's not really many under 20 seconds. Alex Kiddis didn't take a whole lot, so aiming for a tiny bit of track position. Stonestreet and Nash thinking if these drivers aren't going to take their tyres at this first stop, maybe some advantage to the overcut here. Teammates Stonestreet and Nash staying out. No, I might have that wrong. Oh, I do have it right, but Ricky Hyde's in between them.
There you go. I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, here we go, we've got teamwork going on, but no, Ricky Hyde likely, will definitely having served that penalty a lap down now on their teammate in Troy Stonestreet. But still 1-2 for those gents at the moment. Lorne McKee in third place with Jeff Thomas right behind at the moment. Still waiting on these drivers to pit. We've just got the top 10 currently are waiting to come in and pit. There we go. Lorne McKee is in. So yet another one. We'd really be expecting most of our drivers in the next, I think, 2 to 3 laps. It's about right for these fuel tanks to be empty. But people really trying to take advantage, get sort of almost to about third race distance, and split this pretty evenly into thirds with their compulsory pit stops as well.
Oh, Alex Kiddis has been off the road. just on his outlap. I think he's gotten it wrong. That's at the roller coaster. He's just ahead of Ken Latta now. Latta with that very rapid first stop. Kiddis will have a bit of grass on his tyres. Didn't look like he was much trying to defend the inside. Now he is. Switch from Latta to the inside of turn 1.
Yeah, Latta's got some pace at the moment. We know, well, I mean, I should say, we know he is capable of a top 3 position in this championship, and obviously last week out of St. Petersburg was not his week, and that has, unfortunately for him, leaped through to this VIR round. But by taking on less fuel at that first stop, he's taken a bit of a gamble and is relying on his pace to drag him forward through this field, and that's what we're seeing at the moment, is he's really started to come through at the moment. Look at this replay of Alex Kiddis and just what happened to him. Oh, he's just locked the rears by the looks of it. Oh my goodness, he has gone way off. Not in the direction I was expecting there, but because of the big runoff here, he's managed to keep going and get back on track, albeit with some slightly dirtier and more scrubbed tyres than what they were before.
You could suggest big fuel load plus old tyres might have caught him out a little bit. Going a little bit deeper in the pass. Well, that's what happened between Stephen Kennedy and Ken Latta. A little bit of contact on the exit of the roller coaster. Latta gets back on the road. Stephen Kennedy ends up way out there. In live time, more drivers are stopping. Troy Stonestreet's pitted from the lead of the race, followed in by his teammate David Nash. Greg Sharp, Travis Hunt, Darren Goosey also come in. Jeff Thomas, though, no desire to stop just yet.
So we'd expect, if people haven't been doing, the drivers out there haven't been doing too much fuel saving, we'd expect that the drivers who haven't pitted, that'd be Jeff Thomas, John Gallen and Dave Arney, will come in at the end of this lap and be pretty much running out of the gas they need to get this thing going. So we'll wait and see what goes on. We're seeing a few more cars come in as well, just on the top right of your screen there, down Madison Avenue now. So this will be a real telling element to see if they have been doing some, Jeff Thomas has been doing some fuel saving, or if he has, or if he's just been going for it. We'll need to pit this lap. Interesting to see the speed comparison here under draft versus not. So that was about 15 kilometers an hour slower, just as you go by yourself on the track compared to when you're in the draft behind another car. Really interesting comparison there as well.
Bit of battling going on. Justin McLean and Brian Borg as Jeff Thomas comes in. This is about how far we thought everyone could go, and you can see Gallen and Arnie coming in behind as well. About a third of the way into the race, and they're going to have to take on some fuel and have the option to take their tyres now. We think it's the kind of thing you try to save in case you need it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you probably run these tyres until about half race distance or beyond if you can. Wayne Walker reassuming the lead there, nothing unexpected. That was just the pit cycles all figuring themselves out. But I'd imagine you want to take these tyres from the start of the race deeper into this one and then put on a fresh set of boots to the end of the race with a lighter fuel load as well, because you won't have quite as much on if you can drive deeper into this one. So there'll be a bit of short-term pain for long-term gain for a lot of these drivers, assuming that most of them haven't taken their tyres on. But it'll show pretty soon who has taken tyres, because they will start rocketing through this field, because that offset will start to grow bigger and bigger.
So that's one stop for everybody. And you can see the gap Wayne Walker's got. Paul Young back there in second. Justin McLean and Brian Borg together third and fourth. Just applying a bit of pressure there. Troy Stonestreet with his pit stop completed. It's come back out in fifth ahead of John Latham. Stale seventh, Poynton eighth. Chad Lewis, lots of positions gained so far in this race. 12 spots up to ninth. And Logan Barnett completing the top 10. But it must be pointed out, Barnett absolutely brimmed that thing, and very well might come back towards closer to a top 5 position. So 30-second stop. And he's 6 seconds behind Troy Stonestreet, who's got 6 seconds more of fuel than. There's a lot of drivers between Barnett in 10th and Stonestreet in 5th that you think he could jump when it comes to the second stop that ought to be quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where we're going to see some of these fuel discrepancies, in a sense, all play out a bit more. It's been the benefit of having the 100% uncapped fuel tank for these guys when they're refilling during races. So they start with a capped fuel tank, as we mentioned earlier, but having that ability to generate their strategy as they want to on the track. We've been seeing some really cool results with the racing on track and how they go about their strategies. So awesome to see. Focusing on Justin McLean now in 3rd place, who is only just over a second behind Paul Young, but with what we know is a fast Brian Borg coming up behind him. Justin McLean pedal cam as well here, which has been
Problems for Alex Kiddis though. He's off the track and there's issues. That's the exit of turn 1 as he grabbed a double downshift and blown the motor there. Can happen. It's one of the things we see happen in the big braking zones where you grab lots of downshifts. Sometimes they grab them too early, over rev the engines, and they can be quite sensitive to them. And we get a safety car with 24 laps to go. Everyone has completed 1 of 2 compulsory pit stops. Damien Cairns completing an uncompulsory detour. But gee, what do you do?
I think here the strategy is stop. You know you can get home from here on fuel. You stop, you put your tyres on, and you're just going to race this thing to the end. We're nearly at half race distance where you would have done that stop anyway. And I think if you don't come in now, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage to the rest of the field, where you're going to be on tyre. You're going to have a stop in hand and tyres that aren't going to be as good. And here we go, race leader Wayne Walker in. Let's see how the rest of the field goes here.
Mind the painted lines, the chevrons, and the pit speed. Paul Young, I think, is going to be okay. Brian Borg right behind Justin McLean. Everyone coming in. The question is who doesn't, really. And, of course, keep an eye. How much can Logan Barnett gain here? Jeff Thomas stays out.
He's only just pitted only a couple of laps ago, really. Like, he's only just come in. This is a bold strategy. I don't know. It might work out well for him, but he's trying something different tonight. I've got to appreciate the go at trying something different at this track, because not everyone does it. A lot of other people have gone in, but Jeff, he's trying something different out there, and you got to appreciate it.
Project Fade Streetwear safety car leading the pack. Hasn't been seen too much in Split 1 this season. Got a fair workout in Split 4 at St. Petersburg, I believe. So Wayne Walker, stop done, comes out in 2nd place. Barnett, has he jumped not as many spots as I thought he would? I'm not sure that the timing of that safety car actually helped him as much as if we'd remained green. He's up into 9th. Will be net 8th, I reckon, when Jeff Thomas pits. So from 10th to 8th for Barnett.
Yeah, definitely would have expected more out of that. So, yeah, because he was up in that, like you said earlier, David, up in that top 5. So definitely not seeing the jump we expected, but his pace is pretty good in terms of his best lap compared to those around him. So if he can get the pace going once the safety car comes in, then I would say let's keep half an eye on Barnett in the second half of this race, because I think he's good for some moves to try and get his way back into that top 5. But in saying all of that, we have seen everyone except one Mr. Jeff Thomas come in for a pit stop. So he's the outlier in the strategy, but it may well be that it might be a masterstroke and it might generate an excellent strategy for him, or it might spell a rough second half of this race. We'll just have to wait and see.
We're taking a look for Alex Kiddis. His stricken car brought out the safety car. He's running 6th gear down towards turn 1. Oh, downshift into 4th gear maybe has done him in.
There it goes.
Once the smoke comes out, you can't get it back in again. It's like toothpaste in a tube.
Yeah, or a genie in a bottle. Once it's out, can't get it back in. You can make your 3 wishes, but unfortunately, I think for Alex tonight, there will be no wishes of getting back on track. That since that smoke is out of the engine and he's still parked up there. With unfortunately, one of the interesting parts of racing these supercars is the downshift and the way you race them, and that you can blow an engine fairly easily. Most weeks in this series, you will see a driver blow an engine.
Wayne Walker switching it off downhill.
Max fuel save strategy going on here. He's the complete opposite of blowing an engine. He's just turning it off.
Yeah, it's clutch in, ignition off type stuff. Now, seeing that everybody else has just pitted, what is the ideal scenario for Jeff Thomas? Everyone's tyres hit a cliff, or there's a second safety car with 10 to go, or there's a second safety car in 5 laps. What is Jeff Thomas secretly, deeply praying for?
Well, I can't go into that in too much detail on the broadcast, but in terms of the V8 supercars race we're watching unfold in front of us, I think he is hoping for another safety car. He's hoping for the fact that he can rely on BIR being a bit harder to pass if he can't get runs going. And I personally, when you got the likes of Wayne Walker and Paul Young and John Latham behind you, these are 3 guys who are they're aggressive. They don't cause incidents, but they know the pace they've got, and they will go for a move if they've got the opportunity. So Jeff is going to hope that he can get runs that will stop their momentum so that he can keep that first position, and probably for another safety car that will mean that loss that he could have experienced is going to be lessened. I think that's the strategy, but it's got to happen in the next, as you said, 5 to 10 laps. If it's beyond that, he's going to have to pit anyway, and it's going to be all for nothing.
You know that on the website for the Department of Veterans Affairs, there's a recipe for making Anzac biscuits?
I thought that was a closely guarded secret.
No, I think it's public knowledge, and I think you've got to make them right. Otherwise, it's deeply offensive and wrong. So that's 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of golden syrup, 1 teaspoon of bicarb soda, 1 cup of rolled oats, 1 cup of desiccated coconut, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, and 3/4 of a cup of plain flour. Preheat that oven to 160. I reckon I'm giving this a go. I'm giving this a go this week. Alright, find a legit recipe for Anzac biscuits, or I saw them in the middle aisle at Aldi. The proper ones, 10 cents for every pack. Donated, so yeah. That's that could be just me for a midnight snack, or it could be an activity with the kids this weekend. Get a good recipe, a proper recipe for Anzac bickies, and get that going.
Yeah, fun for the whole family. If you need to have something to do and give the kids a treat afterwards, teach them how to make an Anzac cookie and the history behind it. I think, or Anzac biscuit, excuse me. I reckon that'll keep everyone entertained. But safety car coming in, Jeff Thomas, your leader. Unexpected, but he's there still with 1 compulsory pit stop to complete, but with an angry pack of supercars, and Wayne Walker, our championship leader, right up behind him.
Official government recipe for Anzac biscuits. Tightly packed field right now. Jeff Thomas will be hoping for a lot of field spread when we go green, so that he's got space to make his second compulsory pit stop. Everyone else has already made theirs with 22 laps to go. The Project Fade Streetwear safety car is in the lane. Jeff Thomas is biding his time for the moment. Out of hold pen, straighten it up. Wayne Walker will have to be in the right gear and with the ignition on, because he's got Paul Young and John Latham breathing down the back of his neck. Long way to go to the start-finish gantry here as well at VIR. So the usual green flag points all the way around this little banana bend, and Jeff Thomas is making them wait till about now. We roar back into life. 22 laps to go. Jeff Thomas needs to stop. Wayne Walker's the net race leader from Paul Young and John Latham. They're super close in a couple of these places on the restart. No passing before the control line. JT could scurry away a little bit here, you know. He's got a car much lighter than everyone else. His tyres aren't that old either.
No, and you know what? He did a really good job on that safety car restart. He just created a bit of distance between himself and Wayne Walker that might give him the opportunity to, as you said, scurry away a bit. He can get into a bit of a rhythm here because he hasn't got Wayne Walker breathing down his neck right now. So it was about as good a restart as you would expect from him up the front there. So well done. That's an easy essence section.
Eyes on Barnett and Stone Street and others right now into Oak Tree. Dustin McLean taking the big swooping line between the two apexes. Troy Stone Street keeping things a little tighter. That swoopy line can set you up for a good exit. It's absolutely critical onto Madison Avenue. Wayne Walker's also got a good run in the slipstream, so Jeff Thomas isn't going to get away for too long. It's our leading group. It's also helping Paul Young stay in close, with John Latham right behind him. Borg up 2 spots in this race to 5th. Oh, easy, Paul. A bit wide out of the final corner, bit of oversteer. Tyre temperatures really realistically only just coming up now after the restart and the pit stop.
He is revving that thing right to the max of the rev range at the moment. When he was in 5th gear there, the car was screaming. His dash was flashing red at him. Shift, you know, he is pushing it to try and get this pace at the moment. Now we're seeing here the difficulties of overtaking at VIR. Wayne Walker and Paul Young have closed up on Jeff Thomas at the moment, but no moves to be made at the moment. Now, as you said, David, that tyres are just coming up, so it's be interesting to see if these guys find a bit of pace, and more interestingly, where Wayne Walker can actually find that spot to get past Jeff Thomas and continue this race. But it's safe to say at the moment, Thomas might be able to scurry away here. He has absolutely not been able to. He's got some really fast operators behind him, and they're not letting him get away with anything.
To the Oak Tree again. The track that's received a little bit more runoff, a little bit more curbing. Let's open up that exit a little bit more. Everyone goes to the far side of the curb and onto the painted concrete. And Wayne Walker gets a really good run. Now, if he can get Jeff Thomas between himself and the rest of the field, that could help him open this up a little bit. And he's going to go for the move, still overlapping with Jeff Thomas as we go in. Paul Young looks to follow through as well. A little bit of contact there, but Wayne Walker to the lead of the race. Paul Young going through. Jeff Thomas in a 3rd. Brian Borg sticking his nose in alongside John Latham there. As we go through the hog pen. Oh, and there's a moment. And they get shoved off. Jeff Thomas dropping back now, being absolutely overrun by the pack.
Yeah, well, that is not how Jeff Thomas would have wanted that one to go, and just I'm surprised when he re-entered the circuit there that didn't go worse through hog pen. Such a fast part of the circuit, he was slow, but managed all the drivers really well to work around him. But the strategy, unfortunately, is unraveling here right in front of him, as now he's dropped back in the pack, and at this point you think, does he just pit soon and get this out of the way and get it done? Because now he's stuck in this pack of angry cars that are just going to want to try and make momentum here. But we are focusing on John Latham and Logan Barnett at the moment. Latham with a bit of damage to his front bumper. Not quite sure where he has picked that up, but oh, there you go, excuse me, sorry, that was from getting into the back of Thomas just then. So Latham carrying some scars from that one too. So it is not just Thomas who is affected there, but also other drivers throughout the field who are trying to make their way past him.
Barnett on a little bit of a comeback trail here as well. Paul Young not giving Wayne Walker an easy time up front. And how about this in the pack right here? Shane Randell's trying to come through. He's alongside Scott McKenzie at the moment. Dave Arney just behind them. Tim Mulford, another driver we expected could make up some spots, is getting one hell of a slipstream just there. Side by side, I think Randell might just have this, but it's going to be touch and go with McKenzie. Oh no, Arney and Mulford have come together. I think both of them have found the wall. It looks like Greg Sharp's been caught there. Can he get going?
So Arnie's in the wall there, but then in the background we've had Dan Hall get black flagged, which is an iRacing penalty, I believe. So he's going to peel off into the pit lane here. And we've got people absolutely lighting up the race control channel here in the server as well. So Dave Arney has requested a tow. So this safety car could be the saving grace for Jeff Thomas here. This is what we were talking about earlier. We'll see what race control decides to do, but Dave Arney is not going anywhere. And now this could be our second safety car of the night, only a few laps after our last one. And there it is, safety car.
Well, this is interesting now, isn't it? Because not really going to help Jeff Thomas all that much. So we'll just bring him to the back of the field, but he'll still lose an awful lot of track position. But he'll get his set of tyres on. No one else is really going to want to pit because they don't have another set row on. And is not everyone aware that we've gone safety car? I heard it and I see it. It should be known to all.
Yep, I'm with you, Hainsey. I'm hearing it, I'm seeing it. And this is some biff under safety car conditions, which is a big no-no to be racing along. These guys are still pushing on pretty hard at this point here, but Travis Hunt has gone down the inside of Chad Lewis. No, excuse me. Chad Lewis has had a moment. I thought Hunt got into him. So we're just going to make sure here that there's no neck code or anything weird going on.
Touches the grass.
So Hunt has gone through thinking that Lewis might be going off, so that's not I'm making an on-track pass and trying to get ya. That's actually just him thinking, oh, what do I do? Hit the brakes and cause an incident behind me? No, I've got to keep going.
Jeff Thomas is in the lane, and no surprises, he's the only one. Whole field going by him. Travis Hunt thinks Chad Lewis has been off and he's going to keep that spot, which I can see the logic for. But I can also see it kind of looks like Travis Hunt dive bombed Chad Lewis going into the oak tree, and Chad was like, we're technically safety car, what's going on here? So that might get a bit of a review as well. And stop done for Jeff Thomas. He restarted last safety car in the lead of the race. Looks like he's going to restart from 36th, and he really doesn't have as much tyre offset versus everyone else as he might like as well. He is a only moderately warm knife through some rather cold butter.
Yeah, not making much progress through that butter with a lukewarm knife. Let's put it that way. I think it was bold play with the one set of tyres, you know, that open field strategy as well. And I think it was worth trying, but unfortunately tonight it doesn't seem to have paid off too much for him. You know, he's back down in 36 now, so we'll see what happens. We are only just over half race distance. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like we are way further into this one, but there has been plenty of action going on. And just going to look here at Dan Hall as well. This is where he got his black flag for iRacing. So this isn't a race control penalty. Oh, he's going to make contact here. Yeah, it looks like he's just gotten a 2x or a 4x through net code contact, and that has put him over the limit for the race, which has given him a drive through. So unfortunate one there. Not really much more you can do there. He's trying to avoid incidents left and right, quite literally, and has just nicked another car. Unfortunate there for Dan Hall.
So Dave Arney has got Mulford to his right. Oh, and that's how those two come together. Mulford then spears out in front of Greg Sharp, who has to come to a halt. Costs Sharp a lot of time. There's a curb on the left, and Arnie doesn't get that close to it, to be honest with you.
It looked like Arnie was having a bit of a moment of his own there, because he just seemed to drift wide of the curb, but there was a bit of contact there between Mulford and Arnie before Arnie sort of drifted away from the curb. So that's a really hard one to unpack, but unfortunately there has been some innocent victims in all of that, and Arnie is out of this one as well. But yeah, a bit of a complex one there, hard racing in this series, and most of the time it doesn't result in incidents. The guy's usually pretty clean, but tonight we've seen that one blow up a little bit.
Saves everyone a bit of fuel. Jeff Thomas pitted to take his second compulsory pit stop. Tim Mulford's been through a third time for damage repairs. Dave Arnie is just arriving in the paddock on the tow truck, it seems. Alex Kiddis appears to be out of this race. And Damon Fisher didn't start. Ken Latter's up to 14th after that pit lane start as well, by the way. So that is, I think, our biggest mover. Second bunching of the pack could also be pretty good for him.
Yeah, he's done well considering the pit lane start and then some of the stuff he got stuck in earlier in the race with being pushed off the track. So this has been a good recovery drive from Ken, and I would expect to see him move up further, potentially even knocking on the door of the top 10 as this one goes on. But we've still got a fair few laps left here at the moment, so he'll be one to keep an eye on, I think. Chad Lewis up 9 as well in this one, so he's doing well despite locking rears and whatnot under safety car trying to race there. Jamie McKnight up 9 as well, who had his own issues earlier on and was pitting early too, so making the most of the safety car, and I'm sure, as we know with McKnight, he is a bit of a savant when it comes to making up positions and getting a bit further up, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him further up this grid before the end of the race.
Looking at a restart with 16 laps to go at VIR. Wayne Walker's back on top. Paul Young tracking towards another podium. As Brian Borg just behind him. Borg's picked off a couple of spots as this race has gone along. Found his way from 7th on the grid to running in 3rd, and strategies are fairly well equalised now between everyone.
Yeah, at this point we've pretty much got a straight sprint to the end, don't we? This is everyone has pitted, everyone's got their, I would imagine it's got their tyres, they've got their fuel. This is now just a straight 16 lap sprint to the end when they cross the start finish line. So no holds bar. If there's any other safety cars, I wouldn't expect any more pit stops. It's just going to be about how you get to the end fastest. Wayne Walker assuming the lead here as we come around to the safety car restart.
Travis Hunt's cued race control and told Chad Lewis to move in front of him. So that puts an end to all of our questions about what is and isn't passing under safety car, what is fair conduct. Travis Hunt's letting Chad Lewis go. Lewis will restart in 11th. Travis Hunt will restart from 12th. Wayne Walker will have an option of how long he waits on this. I reckon he might go a little bit earlier than Jeff Thomas did. Project Fade Street, where safety car is in the lane now. Wayne Walker, I reckon, how about just out of the hog pen or something? Rip into life, get us going. Oh, about now, just as he goes past pit entry. We're racing again. Wayne Walker from Paul Young and Brian Borg as our top 3. Justin McLean actually had the fastest lap of the race to his name. There's a little bit of overlap there. Matt Brunt, I can see flying past. A couple of gaps. Looking around the top 10, going into turn 1, big compression of the field. Greg Sharp also picking up some spots. Tim Walford and Dave Arney are back out on the racetrack. Looks like Gallen going in there. Ken Latta trying to make up more spots. There's a little bit of contact here, some slides. Tyres only just coming back up to temperature and pressure after the restart as well.
Ken Latta is not wasting any time here, is he? Like, he knows there's opportunities here to gain positions, but he can't get more penalties. There was enough of that going around last week. He's got to do this as cleanly as possible. Hard with the lack of overtaking opportunities here, but he has to try and get this done to the best of his abilities, and he hopefully, hard to tell against Travis Hunt there, but he's got the eyes on. We can see him there in the bottom right on the zoom wall, so he'll get his extra point for that, but now he's right on the back of John Gallen here for 12th place. This is where we've seen that draft take effect and really allow him to drag up. He'll be nearing 260k now. He'll get up to about 280k now, side by side here into the braking zone, into roller coaster. He'll make it happen. Looks like he's got that move absolutely done. John Gallen backed out of it. Ken Latta up to 12th and continuing his charge back through the field after his pit lane start.
Yeah, from dead last to 26 positions gained. He's playing a game of snakes and ladders. Got a bit of space to the top 11 where Wayne Walker still leads Paul Young and Brian Borg. Stone Street just behind Dean Logsdale. Logan Barnett, another one of those drivers I'd say to watch. Barnett, long first stop, cost him some track position. Shorter second stop, didn't bring it back to him. So now he sits in 8th, just behind John Latham, whose damage is not getting any better on the front left there. We're all on Stone Street here. Pedal cam with Latham. McLean, I should say.
Yeah, we love seeing this pedal cam, and rightfully so. Dan Yaman, our producers, pointed out that we've got a bit of light this time. There's the light on those pedals and on the feet that are doing the work, which is cool to see. It was a bit dark the last time we saw it, so now in full glory of an LED light, by the looks of it, we're getting to see how he is managing to take on his circuit. And it's one of the really interesting nuances of supercars is that with no traction control and ABS, there is actually a lot of pedal work involved here, and Justin actually does heel toe braking with these cars, which is very similar to real life, as is a great example. It's just happened here into the roller coaster section. So great camera view. Most of the time we're used to seeing these guys with their steering wheels and their setups, but Justin has gone in a different direction, and we love to see it.
You simply wouldn't catch me setting up an LED ring light and putting my feet in front of a webcam for free.
Well, you know what you value the most, and that's all that matters. And what will sell for the best.
Battle's going on here, so Brian Borg lays down a new PB, closing in on Young and Walker. That top 3 closed by just a second. The battle going on and off the road for Travis Hunt down at turn 1.
That's a shame there. He had been doing quite well in this one, and even with that drum with Chad Lewis under the safety car, gave that position back and just did it to make sure that everything was hunky-dory there. And unfortunately, it looks like he's actually, he's locked the brake there, so that's what happened. He's locked the brake and he's run himself wide, so luckily he hasn't taken anyone with him there, but that, with the fuel being compressed under the safety car, has just lost him. Geez, it's nearly to the tune of 10 positions there, I reckon. Not quite, but just about. And that is just, it's another rough night for Travis Hunt. He hasn't had a lot of good ones lately, and this one will be struck up in the column of not so good.
Not a lot of progress either for Jeff Thomas after his alternative strategy. But still a chance. He's in behind a big group here that goes all the way up to Matthew Stoyles in 20th. Travis Hunt has rejoined his teammate just behind that in 21st. It's this group heading towards the roller coaster. Travis Hunt doesn't lock up this time. It's Stoyles who locks up and drills Travis Hunt. Two of them around at the top of the roller coaster. They've dragged someone else with them. That's one way to exit stage right for Scott McKenzie as well, who gets tagged in this.
Yeah, it looked like everyone's getting going again there, but that was a messy incident there. Again, Race Control Channel lighting up in a bit of drama in this one tonight. And unfortunately, Travis Hunt involved again. And will we see a penalty there, David? Crossing that gold line there on the way in. Looks like might have just gotten away with that one. But very, very messy stuff there. Luckily, no safety car, but a couple of races certainly undone.
Shane Randell now in 20th place, leading this group just ahead of the Dino and Darren Goosey. Shamie McKnight trying to move forward just ahead of Simon Haynes. Started 34th, runs 24th at the moment. Underneath the bridge. Used to say Nissan on that bridge. It also used to say Volkswagen Clean Diesel. Now it just says Michelin.
Hey, look, as long as the tyres have grip, the Michelins aren't quite relevant to the supercars crowd because we're using Dunlops, but Michelins on sports cars definitely give the grip that you need to get racing. But these Dunlops, well, they'll need to be hanging in there at the moment for the tyres on these supercars because even with a couple of safety car periods, they will have cycled through cooling down and warming up, cooling down and warming up. But now I'd imagine they're pretty warm. We're looking at Simon Haynes at the moment, up 10, so still making some inroads, a bit like we saw him do last week at St. Petersburg, on board now as well. So get to see his quite impressive setup there with the 3 monitors, the dash, and the Formula style rim. Great side-by-side here at the moment onto the front straight just out of Hogpen. He's also using a sequential shifter, so there you go. I love seeing that. I thought the supercar feels right with sequential shifter in the sim, and there he is using it. So great to see this onboard comparison side-by-side with what in sim looks like versus his zoom wall camera.
Austin McLean may have passed Troy Stone Street. It's just a little bit further up the road. Wayne Walker's kind of broken the back on this, leaving Paul Young and Brian Borg behind. It's McLean just ahead of Stone Street, Latham behind them. So towards turn 1, that's Stone Street ahead of McLean at this point. McLean's mighty close. Stone Street knows about it. There's only so much you can do. McLean pulls it up on that tight line at the apex. A bit of a bump as you're exiting there, but the tight exit often works really well. From that turn 1, Justin McLean moves to 5th position.
And even though McLean's down on where he qualified, this is what we're beginning to see from him late last season into this season, is stronger results that are in and around that top 5. So he's been doing really well at the moment, and that's something that he should take a bit of pride in, is that pace has been showing week in and week out. Looking at Troy Stone Street now with John Latham behind him. Latham, again, a few spots down on where he started. We saw him get involved with that incident with Jeff Thomas earlier on. And now we have another car who is stranded with a meatball flag, and is asked to tow to pit lane with just over 10 laps left.
That's on the entry to the roller coaster. He's backwards and parked. Stephen Kennedy. A tough one for him. Bit of damage on that car. Front bars missing. Front left, I think, has been into the tyres, and it's done a number on the 55 car. Race leaders heading up the S's, but we go safety car for the 3rd time at VIR. The RaceKraft V8 Vets VIR 200. Not quite what Wayne Walker needed. He was just getting out to a nice little lead. It brings Paul Young and Brian Borg all back towards him again. What happened for Kennedy? We'll take a look.
So again, just a blown engine. Oh, and straight into the wall there as well. So that was a hard hit following what looked like an engine failure, similar to Alex Kiddis earlier in this one. So, and then it's just with the safety car, he's parked right on the exit there. You just can't let him tow from there. It's got to be a safety car to bring that to life.
It almost looks like a brake issue, and he's blown the engine because he's gone for the downshift, but the car hasn't slowed enough for it. It's almost like it was a brake issue to go with it. Travis Hunt is in the lane for number 4 time and is about to go a lap down. Is the field catching the safety car? I wonder if Kennedy's just not slowed enough, but he's still reached for all of his normal downshifts and over-revved it. He's gone into the wall because the car wasn't stopping anyway.
Yeah, it's a really good point, David. I think that you might be right there, because he did not wash off any speed coming into that section, did he? Like, go on board from here, you get a bit better of an idea of what's going on in this braking section, but I think we're onto it there. So, he's not even, when he hits the grass there, he's not washing off any speed at all. It's almost gaining a bit of speed at the point there. So, yeah, I think you're on the money there, Hainsey. Something weird is going on.
The grass is pretty slippery as well, but he's getting in hotter than everyone else before he even blows the motor by just a little bit.
Field under safety car again here. And that's third safety car. We've had a fairly safety car-less season thus far. And now we've gotten 3 tonight, so it's probably about time. But this is what we talked about earlier. It's a straight sprint to the end, so this will be another opportunity for the tyres to cool off a bit and come back to life a bit and create, well, a real less than 10 lap sprint to the end of this thing.
And Borg was pretty close to Paul Young when the safety car came out. McLean, Stone Street, Latham, Logan, Barnett, they were all pretty close together. Got a few other drivers still going up the field. Jamie McKnight making some spots. Christian Smart could do something from 17th. We've lost a few drivers. John Gallen, I'm not sure what's going on for him. Travis Hunt is parked and exited the race. Steve Kennedy, obviously, with the blown engine we just saw. Dave Harney got back into the race, but is 2 laps down. Alex Kiddis is out of the race. The safety car is in its 3rd stint, now going on 5 or 6 laps completed. This is Walker up front. Let's run through some of the liveries then. We've got some unique and one-off Anzac liveries. We had throwback liveries to kick off the season at Mount Panorama. So for Accelerate Sim Racing, a lot of them seem to be in this red scheme. Wayne Walker still got his normal wheels and mirrors. Paul Young in a slightly adjusted livery too, the 040. And then it looks a little bit different for some of these guys like Logsdale and McLean. I think we've got like almost like an Air Force pattern. Blue-white camo down the sides. I don't know the name for different camouflage patterns, I'm sorry. And this is the Shadow Racing livery too, with the sun on it. Evolution Racing Team, we've seen this for Chad Lewis. Dan Hall's got basically the same livery as well. It's an Air Force type of scheme with the roundel on the side.
Loving seeing the variety in these liveries, and as you mentioned, Hainsey, the different sort of camouflages, you know, seeing Navy, Air Force, Army all represented here. Speaking of Army, Luke Orman there with a livery that is a tribute to the Army side of our armed forces in Australia, the Anzacs. So, and yet another one there with the poppies on the car too, which is really nice, and a dedication to the Anzacs themselves in their entirety. Yeah, it'd be really cool to see so many people come out with these liveries tonight.
Here's Ray Smiths with the crest and the flag. I think Randell's is similar, just behind him in 19th place, except on the Mustang. Got Dean Flavel. It's similar to his usual livery, with some slight adjustments to what I think is normally a yellow block. It's become a pattern block. Behind him, Darren Goosey with the crest on the nose. Different underlayer for Simon Haynes.
One we got a sneak preview of during the Driver of the Day segment earlier on, with the crest on that bonnet, and then that sort of Army camouflage underneath, still with the big Super Cheap logo on the side of the car. Brad Doble as well, teammates with John Latham, so both running a very similar livery there with the Dawn imagery from Anzac Day. Stewie Hall also running an Anzac livery there. Again, loving the variety here. Got the Kiwi leaf there as well. Reese DeGoey with the Anzac badge on the side of the car and the poppy on the back.
Yeah, a number of drivers from New Zealand racing in V8 Vets. So based on the iRacing flag, Logan Barnett, David Nash, Reese DeGoey, Scott McKenzie, a few others as well. We're getting ready to go racing again. It'll be 8 laps to go at VIR. The safety car is in. Wayne Walker's looking for a second restart up front. Restart from our third safety car of the race, and I think he has gone early this time, exiting the hog pen. We race down the front stretch, 8 laps to go.
Yeah, didn't catch Paul Young sleeping though. Did not catch Paul Young sleeping. He is right there with Wayne Walker, trying to see if he can do something. Teammates in Logsdale and Walk battling it out here. Go a little bit further back in the pack. It's all line astern at the moment as they are trying to work their way through. David Nash in 10th position at the moment with Ken Latta right up behind. If I was David Nash, I'd be a little bit worried. Ken on the last safety car restart was taking no prisoners. He wanted positions and he was willing to do just about anything to get them. He won't get anything done through the S's section here, but he will be able to set up a run potentially into Oak Tree or into the back straight at Madison Avenue to try and squeak his way in the top 10 from just about dead last in this one.
So looking at that fringe of the top 10, Nash in 10th, South Bend and then into Oak Tree. Ken Latta right behind him. We all know how important the exit is here. Nash doesn't do too badly, but Ken Latta has got it just perfect. Top 4 scurrying away, a bit of space to 5th place, and then it's a train down Madison Avenue.
Yeah, no one making too many gains. When everyone's got the draft, no one gets the benefit in a sense, because they are all going at breakneck speeds down Madison Avenue. So this is a quite literal conga line of cars here, all following each other. waiting for someone to make a slip up here. We truly are in sprint. We truly are in sprint territory here with only 8 laps, left to go here. 7 now with Wayne Walker crossing the start-finish line and setting the fastest lap as well. Absolutely stamping his dominance on this race here at VIR, but still plenty to play for. Brian Borg reckons he's on for a second place here. I think he is not letting Paul Young get away with anything, and he is trying to stay right on him. Borg already up 4 positions and wanting to make it 5.
Throwing that car around through NASCAR left hook and entering the lower S's. Helped him quite as much as he might have liked. Jeff Thomas now up into 26th, having cycled to the back after making, well, a strategy unique to him.
He's done well to work his way up the grid where he has, because he's plus 10. Thank you, Dan. He's plus 10 since his second cross from pit stop. So the strategy might not have worked out, but he's absolutely got the pace at the moment. And I think that maybe the more conventional, well, not maybe, we've seen the more conventional strategy work out. The safety cars have played into the hands of others, but he's absolutely pushing on to try and still make this race and close that gap between where he started and where he finished tonight.
Latta got ahead of Nash. Brian Borg very close behind Paul Young. So now Ken Latta is into the top 10.
Up 28. An excellent drive by Ken so far, and keeping it relatively clean and getting those moves done efficiently. His next target will be Mark Poynton, and looking forwards from Mark Poynton at the moment, we see the back end of the top 10 is still very tight. They're still quite close together. Anything could happen. A small mistake could result in losing a lot of positions, as we saw with Travis Hunt earlier on. So there's still a lot to play for here with a few laps left to go. Nothing to go on here, but you can just see a small slip up will really mean the difference of it. And I reckon Ken Latta, he's hoping for a couple of those to snag a few more positions out of this one before the night's over.
North course pulls off to the right there. The full course continues to climb up the S's past the hotel rooms. You can stay in. Very nice. Great view. Some people might want the waterfront. Some people might want Grand Canyon. You can get VIR trackside here. Taking a look at Ray Smith. Just ahead of his teammate Randell, just behind Christian Smart for the minute. The draft train pack runs down Madison Avenue. And we take a look at Christian Smart as well.
I love the side-by-side zoom wall. Is one of my favourite parts of commentating V8 Vets. I love seeing these two guys with their different setups going at it around each of the circuits that we visit. This is no different. Christian Smart by name, smart by racing. He's qualifying. He's never quite where he wants it to be, but man, he knows how to race his way through as he's showing up 7 and fighting with Ray Smith chasing him at the moment from behind. Ray Smith with that special Anzac livery on the car as well. Both of these guys locked in and paying attention at the moment and trying to get the best of each other with only a few laps left to go here. As I mentioned earlier, every position counts from a points point of view, and you want to make sure that you are ahead of any opponent you can get ahead of before the end of this one.
Slithering around over the curbs, now picking up speed. That group pulling away a little bit. Paul Young more than a second behind Wayne Walker, the race leader now, but with a couple of car lengths to protect himself from Brian Borg in third. Logsdale and McLean seem to be going okay for themselves here as well, just behind there in fourth and fifth. Long straight of Madison Avenue, and our top 5 are getting away from Stone Street. We've got Latham and Barnett just behind. Ken Ladder in 10th, catching that pack. So still a few opportunities left, not too many left, approaching just 3 laps to go.
Yeah, watching the last of these battles unfold at the moment for whatever position these guys can get. So watching Brad Doble at the moment with 5 to go here in what is a pretty tight battle pack. These safety cars have kept the pack nice and tight tonight. So we usually see a little bit more field spread, but tonight is an exception to that rule. And you can see here on the track map there, just look how close this field is and how those battle packs are coming together, particularly in the corners where you're condensing in the braking zones before acceleration. And this is absolutely insane at the moment. No one quite close enough to try and go for a move at the moment, but I can imagine that some of these guys now with 4 to go are going to be thinking, how can I make this happen and pick up a position or 2 before the end of this one.
The group. A couple of drivers in this pack where the race hasn't gone so well for them. Stewie Hall and Jeff Thomas, and then Dan Hall with the penalty. Greg Sharp, who got boxed in someone else's incident at the roller coaster. Look at Wayne Sanderson races in VR, and he's not checking his mirrors and everything as he heads down the straight. Chad Lewis, but ahead of Luke Ullman.
Good run for Wayne tonight, up 6 positions on where he started, and a relatively quiet one. I feel like we haven't seen too much of Wayne on the broadcast. He's just been plugging away at what he's doing, and has ended up with a solid result so far tonight. Still a bit to go. You know, the night isn't over yet. It's not over until that checkered flag falls, but he's doing quite well up 6, and we do also like seeing the VR setup there. Again, the differences between each and every one of our Zoom drivers setups, and love seeing how his head's moving and just the perspective that he has in the car compared to what we see on the broadcast and those with those dual screen setups. But he's still want to hold off at Luke Allman at the moment. We know Allman does have a bit of pace, although Luke is up 8 positions at the moment, but I'm sure he'd like to make that 9 before the end of this one.
Watch where the wheel and hands are on his monitor versus where they are for him in actuality, and how close those 2 match up. And take a look at the Logitech ad that plays. But you need those to match up so closely, otherwise you'll end up getting phantom pains and headaches and everything in VR at VIR if what's on screen doesn't quite match what's happening in reality. Head tracking matching nicely, the wheel and hands tracking matching nicely, and he sits here in 13th place.
Yeah, very good point there, Hainsey. Yeah, you need to have that tuned perfectly, and it takes some time and some effort to get it done, but he has got it absolutely tuned in, and I'm assuming that is part of what's helping him get this result here tonight. But we're just having a look through the field at the moment because we're just seeing if there's any big moments going on. But we're going to have a look at a couple of zoom cameras here as well, just to finish off this one. Wayne Walker. So Wayne is actually, despite being our leader, he is the last zoom camera we haven't checked in with, and that's probably because he's been minding his own business out the front most of this thing. But there you go with his SimSpeed gloves, his dual screen setup there. He looks calm and under control. There's nothing urgent about what he's doing, and this is what we come to expect from Mr. Wayne Walker. He is just on a blitz at the moment. He is the real standard his setting is starting to elevate the guys around him, a bit like Jordan Ross did a couple of seasons ago. But that's a man that's in control and ready to take this win.
Previous time we checked in with him and he had 3 shift lights going on. The one on the screen, the one on his dash, and the one on his wheel. Brian Borg's run off the road from 3rd place. Just behind us here, Dean Logsdale and Justin McLean have gone through for a spot. Borg off the road at Oak Tree and dropping fast. Troy Stone Street goes past him. Down Madison Avenue, John Latham goes past as well.
A result gone begging for Brian Borg. He was looking like he could just snip away at that podium and have a crack and see if he could get those results back from earlier in the season, but unfortunately no such luck. Already off track there on the exit of Oak Tree. He's just cooked it. He's gone too deep there, and unfortunately so close to the end of this one. He has dropped like a stone through the top 10. What was looking like a really good result for him. A 3rd place was on the cards. As I was saying earlier, it's not over until that checkered flag falls, and that's been the cruel reality for Brian Borg tonight.
Drops in behind John Latham, just ahead of Logan Barnett. Mark Poynton in 9th. Ken Latta has snuck into that top 10 as we begin the final lap of the race. Walker by 1.9 seconds from Paul Young, then Logsdale now elevated to a podium spot. That pack behind could get wild down Madison Avenue on the final lap though.
It's all looking pretty sorted here in that top 3, but there's definitely still a little bit to, top 4, excuse me, there's definitely still a little bit to play out here behind though, with Ken Latta. We're watching now behind Mark Poynton, so he hasn't been able to make anything past Mark Poynton here at the moment. So we saw him making a few moves on both safety car restarts, or the most recent 2, excuse me. This is where he's going to have to do it here on the last lap. He's going to have to make something happen down Madison Avenue if he wants to get up to 9th position.
Your last opportunity, 38 of 38 laps, 200 kilometres coming to an end, but they're all just so evenly matched. Wayne Walker will lead the field. He goes through the hog pen, and the championship leader will bag another race win, this time at VIR. It's 1-1 and 1 for Wayne Walker. Paul Young in 2nd. Dean Logsdale elevated onto the podium there. Stone Street leads the pack across the line. It's a very timid checkered flag wave from Barney here at VIR. And that was side by side Luke Allman and Chad Lewis, I believe, for 12th and 13th. Or was it Sanderson and McKee? Very close in a couple of places.
I think it might have been Sanderson McKee there. McKee looks to have finished as 0.018 behind Sanderson there at the line. I do have to agree, Barney's wave was lackluster considering the exciting racing we've had here tonight at the V8 Vets. But Sanderson, he just pipped McKee at the line, and literally by a hair and a freckle. Here we go. We'll look at the replay here. So this is coming off roller coaster here, down through, heading towards Hog Pen. There you go. So they're going to go side by side here down to the start finish line, and oh my goodness, photo finish for 14th, if you will. But Sanderson has managed to just nab that off McKee at the death.
Yeah, super close in their finish. Didn't think that anyone was going to run short on fuel with the number of safety cars we had after everyone had already made their second stop. So that's everyone. Results from VIR. Wayne Walker wins again. Paul Young and Dean Logsdale join him on the podium. Justin McLean there in 4th with Stone Street in 5th. Latham in 6th with a little bit of damage to nurse. Brian Borg, a late mistake, dropping him to 7th there, just ahead of Logan Barnett, Mark Poynton, and Ken Latter from a pit lane start. 39th position, works his way to 10th. David Nash, 11th. Chad Lewis, Luke Allman, Wayne Sanderson, Lorne McKee, another super close pack right here ahead of Matt Brunt and Christian Smart. There's Ray Smith, Shane Randall, and Dean Flavel. Darren Goosey, another driver from deep in the field, 15 positions gained to 21st. Jamie McKnight, also from the very tail of the field, 13 positions gained to 22nd. Simon Haynes up 11 spots into 23rd. Brad Doble in 24th, and then Stewie Hall and Jeff Thomas. Damien Cairns, Ricky Hyde, Dan Hall, and Greg Sharp were only just ahead of another snake of cars that was completed by Reese DeGoey, Matthew Stoyles, Scott McKenzie, and Tim Mulford. Dave Arney and John Gallen ending up a lap down and into some unfortunate retirements, and in some case the causes of a few of our safety cars. Stephen Kennedy, Travis Hunt, Alex Kiddis, and Damon Fisher didn't take the start.
Well, what a race we just had there. 3 safety cars. Bit of strategy differential there, but the safety cars neutralised that a little bit. And in the end, some absolute positive stories, some of the guys, and some real negatives. Looking at the championship standings here, Wayne Walker is far and away the leader. As we'd expect, he has been the standout this season. Paul Young in 2nd, Dean Logsdale 3rd after another good result, Mark Poynton in 4th, Luke Allman 5th, Brad Doble 6th, Greg Sharp. Greg Sharp, can I just point out, having a really good season at the moment and on par with Dean Flavel in 8th there, Shane Randell 9th, and Jeff Thomas in 10th, even with that lackluster night with the strategy not working his way. And just to point out, live points, they don't include the Zoom wall bonus or any bonuses or points from penalties tonight, so this may change depending on that. But I reckon we're going to see some good movers and shakers in that one.
No doubt, and some of our podium are going to stop by to chat with us. Seems like 3rd place Dean Logsdale is ready. G'day.
So I could hang with you just about.
Dean, 3rd place, not bad, and just something you might not have expected with 5 laps to go.
No, I will definitely take that one. They weren't making too many mistakes at the start of the race up the front, and a couple of wobbles, and once you get out of that tow, I was pretty happy with 5th place or something like that for a while, and then I just found a bit of pace in that last stint and put the pressure on, and he just lost it by the old oak tree, I should say.
We all miss that oak tree. What other corners did you find sort of interesting or challenging for this car?
First corner was tough, actually, and I don't blip, so I've really got to be careful what I do going down the gears. A lot of them, really. 5 and 6, oak tree. Like all of them. It's quite a tough, tricky track for sure.
Well, 2 positions gained on the podium. Long stint on those tyres at the end. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, I started in neutral, so I dropped the clutch and I thought, what's going on here? And then, put it in first, lost a few spaces there, but very happy with that. Thank you.
Logsdale joining us from 3rd place. 2nd place finisher, Paul Young, is going to be with Brock Cadday.
G'day, Paul, and well done on a great result tonight, mate. Look, talk us through, the strategy would have been a bit different tonight with only that one set of tyres underneath you. How did you manage that with a few safety cars going on?
Yeah, thanks, Brock. Yeah, it was. I was thinking about it all week about what to do. Like, I thought there'll definitely be safety cars because it's an engine killer through the down changes here. So I thought try and get the first one out of the way. That's why I went a bit early. I think I was in third at once the first lap got sorted out. And I can't remember when I pitted. Maybe lap 5 or so. So it was a bit early, but I thought I'd get it out of the way, and that way I'm open for when the safety car does come. But I wasn't planning on another 3. I think there was 3 or 4. But yeah, it made the last stint long, but I did practice with a full tank during the week. So the car actually, the set's really good. The set felt better as the longer the stint went.
And we saw a bit of pressure coming on from Brian Borg late in that one before he had his unfortunate incident. Were you able to find some ways to defend there, or what was the strategy to keep him behind you as we got towards the end of this one?
Yeah, no, I knew Borg. If Borg's got half a chance, Brian's going to stick the nose in. I've raced Borg for a few years now in Scops and other leagues and stuff, so he's a hard racer, hard and fair. So I just had to concentrate on taking my lines. So if I had 0.3, I was just using my normal racing line. There was no defense there at all. There was one lap early on in the last stint after the last safety car where I got a little bit of grass and he got a bit closer and it was 0.2. So I had to I just defended, went early, went to the apex early on that particular lap. And then after that, I kind of like the 2 or 3 safety car starts near the end that we had. It was always Brian behind me and he was always close, and then I'd slowly eke it out, and then they'd just call another safety car and I thought, I've got to do all the hard work again. And it was hard work. So I had to be right on the money to keep him behind me. And I kept Wayne pretty close early on in each one, but then when I had to defend in the last one, he got a gap. So there was no catching Wayne, he was too quick.
Yeah, Mr. Walker certainly has the pace up his sleeve at the moment, and thank you for the insight there with your battle with Brian Borg. Now, before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you want to shout out or thank?
Yep, thanks to you guys for the broadcast. You do a wonderful job. All the admin and race control at Vets League, my team, Phase 4 Motorsport, and the other boys that we practice with, Kenny and Jamie from Fishy, and all the boys at BAR.
Thanks very much, Paul. Well done tonight, mate, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Bye.
That was Paul Young, second place in today's race. I'm going to bring in Wayne Walker for you, Hainsey, to interview our race winner. Excuse me.
How you going?
We're doing well. How are you?
Good. That was a pretty interesting race. One set of tyres and then all those safety cars. Just I don't know. I couldn't, after the safety car restarts, I couldn't sort of shake Paul. He was driving really good tonight.
I feel like it made the strategy different, but also actually incredibly predictable.
Yeah, it's sort of the way I went into it was, stop. You could pretty much stop anywhere on your first stop, as long as you could get to about half race distance, and put a new set of tires on and go to the end. The safety car sort of stuffed that up a little bit and made us pit a little bit earlier. But yeah, surprisingly, even at the end, the tires weren't too bad.
You had a couple of opportunities to cool them off, and you managed your 2 restarts pretty well.
Yeah, I went at different times on both safety car restarts, just so Paul wasn't ready for what I was going to do, and I think both times was like 0.4 of a second, I think, which was sort of enough gap to hold the lead into turn 1, and then it was just trying to push as hard as I could to get a bit of a gap on him, so he couldn't sort of have a lunge up the inside.
So what's going to be a challenge for you this season?
Probably Nürburgring. I haven't done a lot of laps around there. I think I raced there once in Vets. And that was the first time I'd ever raced on that track. So haven't done all that many. That's one that I'm sort of a bit worried about, because it's, there's so many corners on the track. You just, you forget what corner you're up to, and next thing you're into the fence. So yeah, that's, other than that, the rest of the tracks I'm pretty good with. Adelaide is the same sort of thing. Being a non-dropped round as well, and especially turn one, it's so easy to clip that inside barrier and end up with major damage. So that'll be a tough race for the last one, the last of the season.
And talk us through your special livery.
I think Lorne did this up a couple of seasons ago, and it's got Damien Cairns and Mark Horton up the side of it. They've both served, I think, one in the Army and one in, I'm not sure, Air Force. Yeah. So that's sort of a livery, sort of done up for them, and all the other, everyone else who's sort of served in the military.
Splendid. Congratulations again, Wayne. And I'm sure there's some people you'd like to thank.
Yeah, just all of Race Control. They do, amazing job every week, making sure things run smooth. All the admin of the league as well. You guys for the broadcast. It's always good watching it back, and you do an awesome job as well. My team, Accelerate Sim Racing, all the guys there for all their help as well. All the other competitors, without them it's not possible, and the strength of field is really good, so it's good. Paul and Dean on the podiums, and our sponsors, Abbey Timber, Barometer Wheels, Box and Lock Narang, and Modern Deck.
Awesome. See you soon.
Thank you.
Well, Brock, you've been keeping an eye on who you think should be our driver of the day today. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, hard one tonight. A lot of strong performers out there, but I think Chad Lewis is our pick tonight. Look, Chad had his fair share of incidents, or moments rather, not incidents out there, but moments, but managed to come through for 12th, up 9 on where he started. A really good result, and we're loving that livery as well, in dedication to the Anzacs and in particular the Royal Australian Air Force. So Chad Lewis, you are our M1 Used Cars driver of the day, and the Balin Stewart Foundation also supports this part of the broadcast. So up 9 on where he started, keeping it clean. Hopefully Chad can replicate that next week, but definitely our standout in today's field.
Well, we bid farewell to VIR, and we'll take a look at what's coming for the remainder of the season, including our favourite, Long Beach, next week. That will be always entertaining, always strategically interesting there. Really long front straight, and otherwise a very tight street circuit. And did you know there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard?
I didn't, but now that I know that, I'll have to try reference it next week at Long Beach. A completely different experience to VIR, and I am excited to watch the cars around here and reference the tunnel.
David Haynes, Brock Cadday, Daniel Yeaman from SimSpeed TV. Of course, RaceKraft Simulations V8 Vets is supported by Logitech G, Nova Sim Sports, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Project Fade Streetwear, LGC Images, and M1 Used Cars. Until next week, we'll see you then.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.